guys, how's it going? Amanda Goldman Petrie here from Market Like a Nerd. And all this week in our Market Like a Nerd Facebook group, we are talking about piggyback traffic or publicity and how you can leverage it in your business to send traffic to your offers. If you don't have traffic of your own, like if you don't have a mailing list, if you don't have a Facebook group like this, then what can you do? Well, you can tap into other people's traffic. This can be called piggyback traffic, publicity traffic, whatevs. So on, I think it was Tuesday, we talked about the different types of traffic options you have available to you: SEO, social media, paid advertising, piggyback traffic, and we kind of compared and contrasted those, talked about the pros and cons of each, and identified which one you could probably be using in your business based on the type of business that you have and your niche. Yesterday, what we talked about was underneath of that umbrella of piggyback traffic, what were some of the options that exist within that, and how do you decide which options to use based on whether you're a local business or a virtual, national, international business. Today, what I want to talk about is the age-old question of, is all PR good PR, and how do you determine whether PR is good or bad? There's actually some really interesting, partial truth to the saying that all PR is good PR. Partial truth is the key word, the key phrase there. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up a little image here in just a second, and then we'll walk through the content together. So let me get this up. I want to make sure you guys can see it and hear it. Oh, and I'm just going to warn you, I'm having a Chipotle bowl delivered here really soon. Hashtag quarantine life. So there may be a Chipotle delivery interrupting us in just a second. Okay, so it looks like you guys can see my screen and you can hear me. And basically what I have up here is a little chart that outlines what we in Market Like a Nerd use to determine, is a piece of PR good or is it bad, and therefore identifying the opportunities that are actually worth tapping into versus ones that we really want to steer clear of. Some of them are kind of intuitive, and other ones you might be surprised by. So the first is how it impacts your brand reputation. PR is really, that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to either uphold or diminish your brand reputation. Of course, publicity is a form of traffic, but the value of that traffic is in how it shapes perception of your brands for the prospects that are coming through that form of traffic. If the perception that it is shaping isn't aligned with the perception that you want to be creating, then that's not going to be very good traffic, right? So good publicity is publicity that's going to enhance your brand reputation, not diminish it. So if you look at like what happened with Tiger Woods and all of the scandalous publicity he got around cheating, that didn't really enhance his brand reputation. He is nowhere near in the standing that he used to be in the golf or just overall community, because that PR was very scandalous. It really diminished his brand reputation. It did not enhance it. So that's kind of an example there of what PR can do to really damage how you are seen, and that's obviously not going to do very much for your business, with some exceptions that I will talk about in just a second. Now, similar to this is you want to make sure that the publicity is aligning with your brand values. Your brand values determine your desired brand reputation. Maybe you want to be known as this, I almost think of like Trump in this example. Like, I don't know him as a person, obviously, but I almost wonder if he likes being known as this ill-spoken, very shock, like he has this shock value to his words. He says things that are extremely polarizing, and perhaps that actually is the brand reputation that he wants. And so when he says things or he gets certain PR that aligns with his values of shock producing, polarizing, then that's in alignment, and that's actually good PR for him. I don't necessarily agree with that. That doesn't align with our brand. We don't want to come off in that way. And so if we got publicity that made us seem like, misogynistic, Islamophobic, people like that, that wouldn't really align with our brand values, and that would diminish our brand reputation. So at its core, good publicity is integrated with your desired company culture, your desired company values, and your desired company reputation. And it can either, increase that and uphold that, or it can diminish it and misalign with it. Now, something that people don't think of sometimes when it comes to PR is whether it's proactive or reactionary. And this is something that's really key when it comes to PR, because what a lot of businesses will do is they will handle potential brand reputation disasters as they arise versus proactively anticipating what their needs are going to be and then shaping that perception in advance. For example, let's say that Tiger Woods knew that he was about to be outed as a cheater. He could have proactively anticipated that and then come out with his own angle, his own story that shaped the perception in advance of that story coming out. So the more that you can get your story and your angle out before someone else, then you get to control the dialogue, you get to control the perception. And so proactivity is really, really important when it comes to PR. If you know, man, I just did a terrible job with, some of my clients and they might go and say crap about me, okay, then you need to proactively anticipate that that might happen and shape that story. Talk about, come up with an article or a live stream or an interview where you talk about what your struggles were internally as a company and how that ended up resulting in, these issues with your clients, and then talk about what you learned from that process and how you're trying to make good by serving those clients and setting it up so that doesn't happen in the future. Now you come off as a leader. Now you come off as someone who cares versus, having the clients, these unhappy clients, shape the story. You always want to control your narrative. You always want to control that story and that angle. So good publicity is proactive publicity that anticipates needs, anticipates potential downfalls, and shapes that perception in advance versus publicity that is just reactive and it is handling those downfalls as they arise. Now, here's where a cool little twist can happen. Not all hope is lost if you do get bad PR. Let's say someone does go and run their mouth about you or about your brand, and they say something that's, not necessarily great. You can actually turn bad PR into okay PR because you can react to that PR, and the way that you react, the way that you handle it will shape it'll create dimension to the dialogue. So if you don't respond to the PR at all, well, maybe it'll die out, but maybe it won't, and the last piece of dialogue that was heard was the other side. You get to tell your story, you get to tell your side, and by sharing your side, you add dimension to that story. And so you can take bad PR, give your own angle, give your own side of the story, and tell your narrative and turn that bad PR into, an okay opportunity. So that is just something to be aware of. Not all hope is lost in the event that you do get bad PR. It's all about how you handle it and how you react to it. Ideally, you're proactive. In the event that you're not, you can take action. You don't have to ignore it or freak out about it. You can control it afterwards as well. Okay. The next piece that I want to talk about here is who this PR is serving. we as companies, a lot of times we're the face of the company. And so a lot of times we, at least in this industry, the coaching consulting world, a lot of times the publicity is about us as the individual. And that's fine at a certain level, but once you start growing your business and you're actually really growing a brand behind your company, and there's team members involved, and there's clients involved, and you're starting to hit multiple 6-7 figures, you're not really an individual anymore. Now you're a company. And so you want to make sure that your publicity isn't just serving you as an individual, it's serving your company and the purpose of the company as a whole. A great example of this would be that me as an individual, I have started getting into the entertainment industry, doing acting, and I moved to LA so I could get more into the entertainment industry. But my company, Market Like a Nerd, our zone of genius is in traffic and funnels. Like, we do Facebook ads, PR, funnels, that's it. That's all we do. And so if I got publicity that was talking about me as an actress, that's going to serve me as an individual, but it's not really going to serve the company. And so that's why behind the scenes in Market Like a Nerd, we'll always have publicity strategy sessions where we'll take any of those angles that we might be able to hit around my career in acting or my health and fitness journey, and we'll try to shape them enough that they actually serve the company as well, or the company primarily, and then just me as a byproduct. So again, that's not quite as important the smaller you are, because there won't really be a differentiation between yourself and your company when you're first starting. But as you begin to grow, you need to think about the company's purpose as it relates to the PR, and it not just be about you as an individual. It has to serve the purpose of the company first and foremost. Okay, now, when it comes to publicity as traffic, obviously the goal of the PR is to drive qualified traffic. You want traffic coming from these podcast interviews, from these guest blogs, from these feature articles, from speaking on stage, and you want it to be the right client, and you want them coming to you with a certain expectation around or understanding of your brand. Just put short, you want qualified traffic coming from your PR. So if it does that, great, that's a good PR opportunity. But if this publicity is actually going to decrease qualified traffic or increase unqualified traffic, then it's not necessarily a good publicity opportunity. Because that's the thing you need to realize, is that some publicity will actually, even if it's bad, some bad publicity actually will increase your traffic, but it'll be unqualified traffic. It'll be, people who aren't necessarily aligning with who you really want to be working with and how you really want your brand, what you really want your brand to be known for. So a good example of this would be Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's founder said something super scandalous and became known as haters of the LGBTQ community. And so, like me personally, I do not eat at Chick-fil-A. I refuse. I have 2 mothers. I don't care if there's even any truth to it, just the chance that it's not, and I don't even care that it's like, that's just the founder. Not everyone necessarily who has a Chick-fil-A franchise is in alignment with what he's saying. I don't care. Like, I'm an ally to the LGBTQ community. But I guarantee you that there's people who are not allies to the LGBTQ community who are now fans of Chick-fil-A. And so let's imagine maybe that was just really bad PR, and that's not what the founder meant, and that's not what he believes, and that's not how he feels. And somewhere there was just a disconnect with that PR. Okay, well, now he's got all of these LGBTQ haters who are coming to his franchises, to his establishment. And that's really out of alignment with what he wanted. right? So that's what can happen if PR isn't handled the right way. It can decrease your traffic, sure, but it can also increase your traffic in an undesirable way and get people coming to you that you don't actually want coming to you. Oh God, I can actually give a personal example of this too. I'm sorry, Dan. We joined Dan Henry's mastermind, and I love Dan Henry. Like, he is super brilliant. He's an unbelievable business mind. But in the past, not as much recently, when he first started out, he came off as a bit of an asshole. And he didn't seem to really care that that was his brand reputation. And so that's the kind of people that his brand reputation was attracting. He came off as an asshole, so he was attracting assholes. And so when we aligned our business with his and joined his mastermind, that association ended up actually driving traffic to our offers that was unqualified. We didn't realize it at first until it happened, but we ended up getting a bunch of assholes who were buying our products and services, and we ended up having to let go of 2 clients that came to us from his circles because both of them just were complete dicks. And it made the service delivery just so miserable for us. And when we sat down and we looked at it and we were like, what is going on? Because normally we are just freaking on top of it and we love the service delivery part and everything like goes with the flow. What is going on? And we looked at it and it was because it was traffic from his mastermind. And we said, oh my God, we aligned ourselves with someone who has the brand reputation of being an asshole. And so of course we got assholes who are buying from us. And again, like I said, I love Dan, brilliant business mind, but that was his brand reputation in the past. And so that's what his traffic used to be like. I don't know what it's like now. I imagine it's a little bit broader now as he's broadened up and he's been cleaning up his reputation. He doesn't curse anymore. He dresses a little bit more pristinely. He seems to be growing up and maturing as an adult and individual. So maybe the quality of his traffic has changed, but at the time, that actually impacted our traffic in a way where originally we thought it was good because we thought like, oh, okay, we're getting more sales from this association. And then come to find out it was actually unqualified or undesirable traffic. So that is something that PR can do. Very similar with conversion. Publicity can increase your conversion because you have this perception of being an authority, perception of being an expert, like, oh, I was seen on these places, these media outlets trusted me, so you should trust me too. But it can also decrease conversion because it's not just about, well, I'll get to that in a second, but it can also decrease conversion because if you're seen in a negative light, or if you're even seen on negative platforms, like it's not just about the article or the interview and the angle of it, it's also about the outlet. And different outlets carry different weight in the community. You know, what you feel about an article that's on, I don't know, an actual news station is going to be very different than what you feel about an article on The Onion, right? It's going to carry different weight. So that's something to consider too. It's not just about the article and the angle, it's about the outlet as well. So it can decrease your conversion, or again, it can increase your conversion of unqualified and undesirable traffic. So this is kind of a little chart that you can use internally as well in your own business to kind of look at what the PR opportunity is that's available to you, and is it something that's going to be worth it? Is it going to be something that's going to be considered good PR, or is it bad? Now, let me see if I can change this up here. Some other things that I want to mention here. When it comes to bad PR, a lot of people they'll go one way or the other. It's either no, bad PR is bad PR, or no, all PR is good PR, even bad PR is good PR. There's actually a middle ground that is more accurate, and I say that because there have been studies on this, because this is a statement that has been made for years, and so there are people who wanted to actually see if there was truth to it, so they actually went and studied it. And what's been shown through those studies is that sometimes bad PR is actually good in that it can stimulate product awareness enough that it will actually increase traffic and sales. But this is particularly true when the brand is unknown. If the brand is unknown, it's more likely that the bad PR will actually end up doing good for that brand. But the more the brand is known,